the man, he's the myth, he's the legend, he's the scientist with all the answers to all the questions. It's time for another episode of Alex's Science Corner.
Thank you. Either the general audience is a little slow or the lead audience member who prompter is a little fast. But
What's going on in the wide, wide world of science, my friend?
all right, first story is about a massive haul of new fossils. A little over 500 million years ago, and I'm going to use a rounding error because it's like 500 million years ago, there was a period known as the Cambrian explosion. And this is the period where a lot of different types of multicellular life started to populate the Earth. So with that time period, we saw a lot of fossils, and the first set of fossils were found in British Columbia called the Burgess Shale, and that's in Canada, and that's where they found these massive amount of fossils. In China, they've recently found another shale from that period, and it has even more fossils from that time period. And what makes it even more of a news story than just the fact that the paleontologists who've been studying this for 4 years, it's not just that they found a lot of different fossils. They've got 4,000 individual fossils with 100 different species in these fossils. But the thing that really makes it stand out is because of the way these fossils formed, they're able to actually get soft-skinned fossils. The vast majority of fossils are hard-skinned fossils like bones and shells. But these particular ones, they're actually seeing jellyfish with their arms, sea anemone with their appendages. And so this massive fossil bed is coming out with a lot of fossils. And again, it's taken 4 years to get enough information that they can start publishing this data.
How long has it been since they found this fossil? And where did you say
it's a little over 4 years. It's in China.
It's in China. So they found it 4 years ago in China as well?
This is China. This fossil bed that we're talking about.
It wasn't 4 years that they've discovered up in BC.
No. The BC site has been known for several decades now.
Okay.
And that's how we named and discovered about the Cambrian era and the Cambrian explosion. And again, the Cambrian era is this period where so much life started to diversify so much that they called it the Cambrian explosion because you just start to see a sudden influx of fossils and life and diversity of life coming about from that. Again, this is they found another site in China a little over 4 years ago, and they've been working the site for over 4 years now.
I thought it was 4 years that they've known about this type
Cambrian?
of
No, again, like I said, it's the site
time.
that period has been known for a long time. It's just that this site is an amazing
brand new
treasure
site.
trove. Yeah.
Okay.
Second story, NASA sent a satellite 2 years ago, and a few months ago it arrived over the asteroid Bennu. Now this satellite is called the Osiris-Rex, and its job is to orbit this asteroid, and it's a near-Earth asteroid, in that it's in an orbit that is close enough to Earth. It's not going to hit Earth, but it's in a close orbit to Earth. And what they're expecting to do is it's going to orbit for another year or so. Then it's going to collect samples from the asteroid and come back and bring those samples back to Earth. Well, they're learning a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of the stuff they're learning is going to make the sample collection really, really difficult. First off, this asteroid is only 500 yards wide.
Wow.
But it's spinning really fast. And it's slowly increasing in speed. Now, the speed increase is not something that we're going to notice in the next year or so, but it's increasing in speed because it's rotating, and the way the sun is striking the asteroid, it's going to slowly increase the speed. Over millions of years, the asteroid is spinning faster
Is
and
it
faster.
from the heat of it's
a type of heating that as the asteroid goes around, one side, the side that's coming into sunrise, starts to warm up, and by the time that warm side gets to the other side, it's warmed up a lot, and the heat that radiates out gives it the equivalent of a little bit of thrust. Now again, For a planet, this is nothing. It's not going to affect any orbits of planets. But for an asteroid that's 500 yards across, over a couple million years, it is increasing the speed and the rotation of the asteroid. In addition, they've been noticing these small explosions of material that are just coming off of the asteroid. Because it has such light gravity, any possible ice or materials that strike it are going to toss rocks right off of it. And so it's going to be tossing material out. And one other thing is that they're expecting it to be a dusty rock. Like you may have seen asteroids, they're all dust covered and maybe a few boulders. Well, this is all boulders. And what they're hoping to find is a certain sized patch where they can have the satellite come in really close, touch it with its collector, and then zoom off again.
Yeah.
But they haven't found a spot like that. It's all boulders, it's spinning fast, and there's material shooting off of it. So they are concerned that they're not going to be able to collect a sample off of this rock. Because if they try to make contact, the contact may destroy the satellite instead of getting the sample.
Well, what about some of the stuff that's throwing off? Could it hit the?
It's not, the collector is not designed, and again, it's going to be one of those things that it's a certain distance from the asteroid. So right now, it's far enough away that that's not concerned. But if it did maneuver close, correct. If it did maneuver close, there's always a small possibility that one of these things that's causing the rocks to shoot off may damage the satellite.
And the collector definitely couldn't reach out.
No, it's only about 5 yards away from the arm. The collector arm is only about 5 yards long, and they were expecting to need like a 40-yard wide circle to try and aim the satellite onto, because if they couldn't find something that big, then it's getting very scary situation for the satellite. They have not found any place like that, so they're trying to figure out someplace that is horrible, but we're going to take the last thing we'll do is we're going to try and collect a sample after we've collected all the other data and cross our fingers that it works.
Okay.
So if this thing gets smashed up, is it like, whoops, there goes $1 billion type?
Well, one of the main objectives of this mission is to collect asteroid dust from a pure asteroid that hasn't come to Earth. The reason is because once it enters Earth's atmosphere, it's contaminated by Earth. We can test a whole bunch of stuff about asteroids, but there's still some Earth contamination on it. By collecting this material from the satellite before the satellite enters Earth's atmosphere, it's not contaminated by Earth, and we get a pure sample of what the asteroid could have been. The probe itself has a whole bunch of other instruments, which is why they're going to spend another year or so studying the asteroid before they make this attempt. They want to collect all the data from all the other instruments. So if this sample collection fails, one of the mission objectives is a failure, but we've still got another year to go, and they're learning a lot of interesting stuff about this asteroid. Unfortunately, some of the stuff they're learning is going to make it tough to get that sample.
Is it possible for them to connect with another asteroid?
Well, this
that's
probe
also
is
coming.
Yeah, this probe is not going to be able to.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the orbits and the maneuvering, they're just not going to be able to.
And they don't see another one coming into that.
Well, no, they had to spend a lot of time picking out this asteroid and getting its orbit. There's not another asteroid that this probe could go to.
Okay.
Because it's only really got enough fuel to maneuver back to Earth, and that'll be it.
Okay.
All right. Anything else to add?
I got nothing. Any other questions?
Well, the one thing I did want to say, I had a football analogy, because you're saying it's 500 yards, so it's 5 football fields.
Correct.
Wide. The arm is half a down from the
it's
probe.
about 5 years, maybe a little smaller, but the collector arm is about 5 yards.
Okay.
But that's going down from the satellite to the surface of the.
Yeah, but that's not very.
But they also needed like a 40-yard circular area that they're trying to aim for, so that again, if there's anything off about the maneuvering, they'd have some place to play that the asteroid would not, or the probe would not hit anything on the asteroid and get wrecked.
Okay.
And they haven't found that area yet.
Okay.
So.
All right. If you have any questions about these two stories or anything else science related, feel free to call Alex right now at 203
837.
99.
24.